Mike McCool here with the Royal Examiner. In the studio with me today is Lutricia Lopez, an author of several books. Mark's going to zoom in here and get the cover on this one right here. Younger Me, You Are Free. All right. And she's done a couple other small ones here. The Dangerous D's. And she has it translated into Spanish. She tells me she's not Spanish, so that's okay. So, Lutricia, let's talk about your first book here, Younger Me, and let's just talk about what it's about.
Okay, so...
And let's start with the beginning. How did you think you had a book in you?
Oh, mercy. To be honest, it was a desire of mine for years to write a book. But as in the introduction, I explained, I didn't think I was smart enough. I didn't think that I could do it. And plus, one thing that hindered me is I speak of people in my book that had hurt me, and I didn't want to hurt them by revealing some of the things.
Right.
So those were things that kind of hindered me, and I actually started writing this book a few years ago. And about had a mini nervous breakdown, just rehashing everything, getting it out, and I wasn't where I needed to be to finish it, so I kind of just put it on hold. Then I was at a church service, and the lady, her story was so similar to mine, and I cried the whole service, and I felt, God saying, it's time. It's time. And then the following Sunday, I was at my church, and we had a speaker, and he was talking about scars and how we all have scars, and we need to, let our scars show, because our scars will help others.
Sure.
So I really felt God saying, it's go time. So
right. I'm giving you a few hints here. Let's get with the program, right?
Right, exactly. So I got back into my book, and I had approximately 8 pages done. And I let my best friend, which she is my editor now, read those 8 pages. And she was like, okay, well, you need this and this and this and this. And she told me later that those 8 pages kind of look like something from an elementary kid. So, which I think I took as a compliment, because when God got a hold of me, when he said it was go time, he took those 8 pages and turned them into 30 maybe. And and everything just started falling into place. I had a publisher lined up. Everything just fell into place, and then I was able to get it published. It's been published for a little over a year now, and that was my first one.
So this is a story about you and how you broke free of this abuse.
As a child, when I was 5, I had an uncle that molested me. When I was 14, I went through more sexual abuse, gone through physical, mental abuse my whole life. And then my first marriage there was a lot of abuse, and I just lived under a lot of abuse and not knowing who I was, just being who everybody made me out to be.
Right.
And I was a very sad and depressed and just not happy person.
Right. Well, when you're able to get your story out, so when other people read this, they might be able to relate and say, well, they can get out as well.
Exactly.
And sometimes, I think different cultures of our society and family situations where they're at, they don't even, some people might realize they don't realize they're being abused.
Exactly.
And so that may be something too, when people read it and they say, well, yeah, that's happening to me, because that's all they've ever known.
Right.
And they don't know the other part of real life.
Right. And I keep it really simple. The chapters in it are only a couple pages long.
Right. Make a quick read.
And you said, you don't know how. You don't realize that you're going through it. And, living at least 28 of my years of feeling unloved and unworthy and, everything else, and then meeting my husband now that loves me, it breaks my heart to know that there are men and women out there that are suffering, and they don't even know they're suffering. And that's why it says, younger me, you are free, because until I could grab a hold of what my life as an adult, I was being hindered because of what I went through as a child, I really wasn't breaking free.
Right.
Does that make sense?
It makes sense.
Okay.
I see that you have brought God into this story.
Yes. God is the one that totally had set me free. Like I was mentioning before we started rolling, I am not a reader. However, when my first husband, he went out and he got me a Bible, and he got me this book called Neil Anderson, or The Bondage Breaker by Neil Anderson. I read that book in 2 weeks, and it helped me to understand where a lot of the attacks come from. Because we as people, we want to blame our problems, our, like, if you upset me, we want to blame you for it.
Right.
We want to blame each other. But what people don't understand, like especially in Ephesians, that our warfare is not among each other. Like the people that hurt me in my past, it wasn't them that was hurting me. Like I understand like the spirituality behind it.
Sure.
And understanding that, like in the end of my book, I go into the kingdom of darkness, the kingdom of God, and once you can understand the kingdoms and understand the realms that we are a part of, it helped me break free. It helped me to understand, and that's was a very big key factor, and that's what Neil Anderson did in his book. He showed me that side, and it really helped me to understand things.
So you're going to be at the Royal Oak Bookshop.
Yes.
Is it this week?
The 18th, I believe.
18th, that's on a Saturday?
Yes.
And from 1 to 4?
Yes.
Well, how about that? We got the schedule down. Have you been there before?
I have my, I'm friends with Tammy. And she...
Everybody's friends with Tammy.
She's great.
She knows everybody.
She's great, yes. And she's had my book there for, maybe about a year now. And we played around with the idea of doing a book signing. So,
That's great. Well, you get to talk to people and you meet people, and you never know. We'll get the video up here before the 18th, and hopefully we can entice some people to come over to the bookshop and talk with you. But, sometimes people just want to share their message, and they can relate to you because of the same, they feel like they've gone through the same thing you have.
Right.
And you'll be able to help them, or you feel like, it's like we want an expert. So someone that's already done it really knows the path, they broke, and it gives hope to other people.
Right.
As well. I think that's what it's about.
Well, the simplicity of my book doesn't necessarily, you don't have to be someone who has been through the kind of abuse that I went through. I believe that the book is written in a way to where, like, any kind of thing that's keeping you in bondage or hindering you. I put journaling in there because it's like at that now moment, when you read this, you relate, and you're like, so then I leave journaling in there for you to write down
exactly
how to. So I really think it's kind of like a 3-in-1 book. Tells my story, it leaves journaling, and it's like a study.
Well, it is. It's a Bible study.
Right. And then
the answers to your dilemma was all in the Bible.
Exactly. He, God is the one that set me free and showed me the way.
You think maybe he's kind of known how man is over these years, and he's allowed us to have this Bible to kind of give us this roadmap through life. We go through Bible studies, and we're studying, and we go back and we look at, say at the Exodus when they're leaving Egypt. Well, that's just like what people act like today.
Right.
It's kind of amazing, isn't it?
You're right.
Yeah.
It's like, you look in the Old Testament times compared to today's times, and you find similarities in it.
Except they have long names you can't pronounce.
Right.
But other than that, their actions are really
exactly
the same as what we go through. Like, you think we would learn something. We've
right.
evolved. We got a computer, but we sure can't get along with each other. Right?
Right.
It seems like it. Let's talk about your other book, The Dangerous D's. Tell me about that.
In the beginning of my book, it's either in the introduction or in the first chapter, I talk about the dangerous deeds, which are tactics that the enemy uses to keep us from pursuing God. And when I first wrote this book, I had so many people message me about the dangerous deeds. They're like, you need to speak on the dangerous deeds. You need to do this on the dangerous deeds. And they
want you to do it.
Right. But in the book, it literally, that's it. I introduce it, boom.
There they are.
That's it. And I had such a response over that one page that I was talking to a friend of mine, and I was like, maybe I should just make a mini book out of it.
There you go.
And
you carry this right in your purse or right in your pocket.
Right. So then I messaged my interior designer, and told her what I was thinking, and she was like, yeah, let's do it. And just how awesome God is. In 23 days, that was done.
It was done.
A
lot easier than the first one, wasn't it?
Right, yes.
I see the D's here. We have discouragement, deception, defeat, disbelief, diversion, delay, and depression. I can see where those would get you down.
Right.
That's something. So you're saying we don't have those things in our life. We're to get rid of all those things.
We need to get rid of them, yes. And this book here is another simple book. Each
Right.
chapter is about each dangerous deed, and gives scripture and a little bit of me talking and.
This journaling idea, when you talk about it, where you can write, there's some kind of freeing when you do this, when you can write out how you feel. It's kind of like the old diaries when you were a
Right.
teenager, But they say when you write out those problems, they seem to they're in that book, you close it up and they're gone.
Right.
Yeah. If that's how it works for you, do you think? Does something like that? You feel relief when you write it down?
I think, for me, sometimes if I don't, I can read something and then you might forget how you felt when you read it, but
Right.
when you journal it and you're reading it and you're writing it, it does something bigger.
Right. When you go back in 2 or 3 days or a week and you read it again, because out of sight, out of mind sometimes.
Right.
And when you go back and you read that, you're saying, oh yeah, and that you can relive the entire chapter of the book just by reading 2 sentences you wrote down.
Right.
Your brain will recall those things.
Right. Well, sometimes we need to stop and ponder. Because how many
Exactly.
times do we just read and you just skim through it and you just read, and then you go back and you read the same thing and you're like, oh, I didn't get that time.
That's right. Well, and we were talking earlier, I was talking with Stephen Hudak and about a book he was doing, and I said, yeah, sometimes I'm listening to a book on tape while I'm driving or something, and when I hear an idea, whoop, there I go off in La La Land thinking about
Right.
that, and I don't hear the next hour of or the half hour
Exactly.
of the book, and I have to go back and listen to it again. I was telling my wife, just gets mad at me. She's,
Right.
we've heard that thing 6 times, why do we got to hear it again? Well, see, she doesn't hear the same thing I hear, see, so
Right.
that's the same thing. When people read this, everyone's going to get their own story.
Exactly.
Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I mean, my passion and my desire for both of these books is for people to know that they are loved. In the front of the book, there you see all these words.
Right, I see 'em.
And it's holy, righteous, redeemed, forgiven, loved. When you go through things in life, we forget that we are loved sometimes. We forget that we are holy,
Exactly.
We forget this about ourselves. So one thing that I want people to know and understand is that, they're not alone. No matter where you are in life, God does love you, and you can never go too far that he would not accept you back. You know what I mean? And it just breaks my heart knowing that people are out there are hurting. People don't know the truth. People don't know how to be set free, and they can be set free. And there's many books out there that people can learn, because Neil Anderson's book helped me get set free. So, and I just pray that through these that many others will.
Well, I can tell you have another book in you.
I do, actually. We are
Here you're going to pull it out of her purse.
Yeah,
You got the
there you
manuscript
go.
with you right now, don't you?
I have just a little brochure. We are actually my best friend Becky, which is my editor. We are working together on a book about bullying, and it is that's just a little brochure that I have on it
Okay.
right now. We have several stories already written. I need several more stories, but we're taking real life testimonies from people and just rewriting them. Misty actually has a story in hers. I didn't rewrite hers because how do you rewrite in hers?
I know you. You don't dare.
No, I told Misty, I'm like, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to leave yours alone, and I'm going to write in there that this was written by you. And she's like, yes, and she even added a poem. So in our next book, we have talk time in it. We have poems that have been written, and then we have real life stories. But I need more stories because it's not enough for a book yet. But we have stories on a young woman that went through anorexia and the bullying through that. Children bullying, adults being bullied, bullying in the family. So it's bullying hitting a lot of different areas.
We sometimes think it's just kids on the playground, but it's a lot deeper than that.
It is. It is.
And you see it, and it goes on. Once a bully, always a bully. I think, until someone knocks them down.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
To someone bigger and better bullies them
Right.
back, and all of a sudden, then, sometimes you got to have some sense
Right.
got knocked into them. Not literally, but
Right.
And we don't talk about. We don't want to bully anybody, but you understand what I mean.
I get you. We
Yeah.
even have a story from a bully herself that shared her story on why she bullied, and then I have another lady who is getting me her story. And
Do they realize they're bullies?
yes, yes.
They know what they do.
They did what they did.
What they did.
Yeah, when they were younger. Like the one story was about when she was younger and in school and how she bullied this other girl. So
Yeah.
I commend her for her courage to share the story, because I look at things from all angles. Bullies bully for a reason. And this is to bring awareness not just to the people that have been bullied, but also awareness to the bullies themselves, because they bully for a reason.
They do. And
You
it
know.
sounds like it all ties back to your first book about setting them free of their bullying.
Right, exactly.
You're on this kick, setting
I
everybody
am.
free. That's
I
great.
am.
Well, I know you have a book in you, so that's why I asked. I could tell that you were just dying to get something out, and you want to do more than a mini book on this one. So we want to get you a nice book,
Right.
and help people. So I really do appreciate it. Now we'll try to get the word out, get people down to the bookshop. That's the Royal Oak Bookshop on May 18th from 1 to 4.
I think so, yes.
1 to 4. Get there early. That way, in case she goes home at 3, you can still see her. She'll have all her books. You can sit and talk, drink coffee and sodas with Tammy and the dogs and the cats and
And the
whoever
cats.
else, whatever else she has in the bookshop. But it's really a great little place to meet people and to share your ideas and get your message out. Because even if it's a few people, like you say, it might only take one.
Right.
One person that you can touch will really make a difference
Right.
in their life. Well, I really appreciate you coming by our studios. And when you get this next book out, you come back and see us again.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks again.
Thank you.